Chapter 91. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's over, that the god of bones cried out in despair from his pale divine domain. He'd even sent some skeleton worshippers to secretly tail the dark elves, seeing 4 legendary bone dragons, 3 legendary soul-snatching death scythes, and 9 elite shock knights. He'd been so stoked, thinking the spider goddess was just too powerful, the thunder god wouldn't stand a chance, he'd be crushed. He was ready to hitch his wagon to the spider goddess, but then the divine battle kicked off. It was like a slap in the face. His heart just plummeted. It was terrifying. The way the thunder god mowed down the spider goddess's powerful followers was unreal. What am I gonna do? The thunder god will never let me live this down. But his face was a mask of anxiety and despair. Undead gods, huh? Back in his own divine realm, Liu focused on the bone dragon, Theodore, his vision shifting. He spotted a simple village down below, full of trembling skeletons. These weren't mindless skeletons, they were intelligent undead. So, the strength god pals around with this bone god. And this place is less than 1,000 kilometers from the original dragon tribe. And the spider goddess is thousands of kilometers away. How would she even know I exist? Liu found that odd. If he was reading this right, the god of this undead village was the god of bones, which meant the god of bones likely ratted him out to the spider goddess. Crush them. He commanded, his voice booming. Great Lord, Theodore obeys your command. Theodore replied eagerly, his massive skull swiveled, gazing down at the skeletons below. The soul fire blazed in his eyes. Suddenly, he dove, letting out a chilling, terrifying dragon roar. Ragh. The sound vibrated, creating a shockwave that flattened hordes of skeletons. He opened his maw, a pale, freezing dragon breath gathered in his bony mouth, then, he unleashed it. Boom! A thunderous explosion ripped through the skeleton village. Hundreds of skeletons were instantly pulverized, their soul fires extinguished. Fear gripped the remaining skeletons, the flames in their eye sockets flickered wildly, they cowered in the shadows. Lowly skeletons. Theodore snorted, not bothering with the weaklings. He landed in front of the ancestral temple, his bony wings flapping. The 20 or so level 3 skeletons guarding the temple were shattered into bone meal. My great lord, Theodore respectfully invites you to enter. Theodore announced, his voice reverent and pious. Back in his divine realm, Liu remained calm. He took a step, and teleported over 4,000 kilometers, appearing in a pale divine realm. Honorable Thunder God, I'm willing to be loyal to you, to become your follower. The god of bones stammered, seeing Liu, he didn't want to die, he wanted to live. The spider goddess was done for. Was it too much to switch sides? Oh, Liu stood with his hands behind his back, studying the god of bones. His eyes glowed purple, a wave of divine power washed over the entire realm. Did you tell the spider goddess about my location? His voice was calm. The god of bones trembled, a confused expression washed over his face. Great thunder god, I have no idea who this spider goddess is you speak of. I don't know any spider goddess. Don't know? A strange smile played on Liu's lips. The god of bones felt a surge of unease. They were both gods, but standing before Liu, he felt only fear. I accept your allegiance. Liu said suddenly. The god of bones breathed a sigh of relief. He was off the hook. He quickly dropped to one knee. Great thunder god, I voluntarily submit and become your follower from this moment on. Liu nodded, he smiled softly. Don't you have anything to offer? Yes. Yes. The god of bones was taken aback. He quickly presented a strange, dilapidated item, barely a tenth of its original form. It pulsed with tiny sparks of electricity, lavender. It resembled a pool, kind of like a reincarnation pool. There were broken statues scattered around it, too damaged to recognize. Great God, this is a treasure. I have no idea what it is, but it must be something of high value. I'd like to give it to you. The bone god said, bowing low. He'd had it for ages, but it was so wrecked, even his eye of insight couldn't figure it out. To him, it was useless. Now, he could trade that useless thing for his life. What a steal. A treasure. Liu smiled faintly. He reached out and took it. Suddenly, information flooded his mind. Event, you have gained the allegiance of the bone god. Bart, event, you now have a third god. Event, you will receive 50% of the faith power of the bone god. Bart, annually. Event, your bone god, Bart, has gifted you a broken Thunder Titan source pool. Talent, the donated items you get are multiplied by 100-fold. Talent, you have obtained a complete Thunder Titan source pool. Thunder Titan source pool. Liu's pupils widened, surprise surged through him. Titans were terrifying, top-tier creatures, and the Thunder Titan was a branch of the pureblood Titan lineage. These beings were nearly at the pinnacle of upper-level creatures. Adults were legendary, and, unlike dragons, Titans had no bloodline restrictions. They were like dark elves, able to quickly grow stronger through practice. Of course, dragons could also get stronger through practice. But it was much harder than for dark elves and Titans. Their success was in their bloodline, and their failure was also in their bloodline. I can't believe I actually got a Thunder Titan source pool. Liu stowed away the smaller version of the Thunder Titan source pool, a smile spread across his face. What incredible luck. A Thunder Titan source pool was the birthplace of Thunder Titans, like the Dark Elf Mother Tree and the Angel Reincarnation Pool. Many superior creatures that weren't born through natural reproduction, they were created by the condensing of heavenly energy, born from the machinations of strange laws. Seeing Liu's smile, the god of bones felt relieved again. It seemed, the thunder god didn't care that he'd given him broken junk. Great God! He stood up, ready to speak, but a surge of thunder boomed, purple light filled the air, engulfing the entire divine realm. His divine body was shattered by the endless thunder. His soul fled, horror filled his face, desperate to say something, but the power of the thunder was too overwhelming. His soul was extinguished in an instant. Dead, he couldn't understand, why would the thunder god suddenly attack? If he wanted him dead, why did he have to accept his allegiance first? Why claim him as his own only to destroy him? This isn't a garbage dump. I don't accept just any god. Liu said to himself, the god of bones, was obviously the kind of god who spoke sweet words but hid a knife. That kind of god had no loyalty at all. He'd probably cause trouble later, better to kill him and save the headache. Expressionless, he skillfully collected his divine power, priesthood, and the remains of his divine realm. He turned and left, leaving behind only a ruined and dead divine realm. Back in his own domain, Liu's face lit up with anticipation. He pulled out the Thunder Titan source pool. Now, there was no trace of damage. The entire pool glowed with a rough purple light. It radiated authority. Purple lightning crackled. Within, around the pool, were 4 statues, 4 Thunder Titans, gripping thunderbolts in their hands. Their muscles bulged, their aura was wild and untamed, a raw power radiated outward. The Dark Elf Mother Tree is east of Grumsh City. The Angel Reincarnation Pool is west of Grumsh City. So, the Thunder Titan Source Pool goes north of Grumsh. Liu thought. Suddenly, the mini Thunder Titan Source Pool flew out of his divine realm. Landing about 52 kilometers north, there was a majestic mountain peak. P.S. Thank you Shueyu Love Song. The boss has given many rewards, and I am extremely grateful to the other bosses for their rewards and support. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 6th level demigod realm. His divine domain stretched out 75 kilometers. The mountain itself stood over 900 meters tall, covered in vibrant green, pine needle-like trees. Then, boom! The Thunder Titan source pool crashed down. The entire mountain shuddered. Thunder erupted from everywhere, engulfing half the mountain in an instant. Purple lightning snaked and writhed like a billion flying serpents. Dark clouds gathered overhead, unleashing a furious storm of thunder and lightning. The mountain was thrown into chaos. Soil, rocks, and trees were obliterated, leaving a massive, purple platform where nearly half the peak had been. The Thunder Titan source pool settled in the center, spanning over 300 meters in length and width, 4 statues of Thunder Titans, each 100 meters tall and crackling with electricity, guarded its perimeter. Tendrils of thunder energy reached out from all directions, bathing the surrounding 3-kilometer area in a faint purple glow. Trees writhed as roots emerged, and countless creatures, caught in the electric field, fell to the ground, twitching in their final moments. Of course, some creatures were adapting, as the fittest survived, Liu watched calmly from his divine realm. A faint purple glint in his eyes, the eye of insight activated. Thunder Titan. Source pool. Level, lower god. Function, absorbs thunder energy and births thunder titans. Class template, thunder titan. Energy, 0/100. Efficiency, with sufficient thunder energy, a thunder titan will be born immediately, followed by one every 30 years. 30 years, Liu mused, a smile playing on his lips, though not as frequent as the Black Moon Elf birth rate. One titan every 30 years was still impressive. After all, these were titans. Legend said they'd felled gods. Their power was undeniable. At their level, they could rival even dragons. Plus, titans seemed innately connected to the divine, rumored to have a higher chance of ascending to true godhood than other races. Even if their adult strength didn't match two-winged angels, the angel race, like dragons, struggled to advance. For instance, a two-winged angel becoming a four-winged angel was a monumental, nearly impossible transformation. It was far harder than a bronze demigod thunder titan reaching golden demigod status. And pure-blood titans could almost certainly reach demigod status. Even golden demigod. Divine realm. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've heard of a single demigod in the city of gods who have titan followers. Liu murmured to himself, of course, some demigods might keep such a thing quiet, but it underscored how rare and coveted titan followers were. Even one titan believer was enough to make a true god extremely happy. And now, I have a thunder titan source pool. Liu grinned, one thunder titan every 30 years meant 10 in 300 years, and 100 in 3,000 years. That was 100 demigod-level believers, which made him practically unbeatable at the demigod stage. Even at the true god stage, that was a level many true gods couldn't even dream of. Black moon elves are dark-aligned. Angels are light. And the thunder titan is thunder type. As the god of thunder, I finally have high-level thunder-type followers. A wave of satisfaction washed over Liu. He focused on the Thunder Titan source pond with a thought. 100 strands of thunder power descended from the sky and plunged into the pool. Boom. A surge of purple thunder engulfed the entire pool. Over time, a massive figure began to materialize within. Not enough power. Looks like it will need almost 9 times more power. Liu frowned slightly. This thunder titan demanded an immense amount of energy, far more than a black moon elf needed, and even more than a two-winged angel. But he had the resources. He had 176,920 strands of divine power. Another 900 strands of thunder divine power poured down. Boom! The thunder roared, countless bolts of lightning connected the thunder titan source pool to the dark clouds above. From a distance, it was a breathtaking spectacle. The area within a 3,000-kilometer radius of Grush City had long been cleared. Aside from attracting the attention of believers within and outside Grush City, outsiders remained oblivious. That is some terrible thunder energy. In Dark Canyon, Eluni stood on a peak, gazing at the distant lightning storm, a flicker of fear in her eyes. Nearby, by the pool, Julia stood silently with her scepter, her face etched with a trace of solemnity. Black Dragon Mountain, Bone Dragon Nest, Mithril Mine, all his legendary believers were drawn in by the event. They had wanted to go and explore, but they received Liu's oracle. Entry was prohibited within a 10-kilometer radius of the area with a terrifying thunder. They understood that this terrifying thunder was the work of a great god. Almost there. 2 weeks later, Liu sensed something stirring. He looked toward Thunder Mountain with anticipation. From now on, this mountain peak would be the ancestral peak of the Thunder Titan source pool. The terrifying purple thunder slowly dissipated, revealing a 300-meter-tall, purple giant. The giant's eyes were closed. He held 2 thunderbolts in his hands. The thunder twisted like giant pythons, each over 100 meters long. Ancient lines etched his skin. Those lines seemed to possess immense power. Simple and desolate, a crude purple battle armor slowly materialized. Boom! The purple giant opened his eyes. 2 blinding bolts of lightning shot out like pythons. He stepped out of the Thunder Titan source pool and strode from Thunder Mountain to its foot in a single step. Turning towards the divine realm, he knelt. His face radiated respect, piety, and fervor. Great God, thank you for giving me life. Please give me a name, my Lord. At the same time, a strong and steady channel of faith opened. It's just like the winged angel Julia. He's a saint as soon as he appears. Liu was stunned, surprised, and pleased. He had assumed the Thunder Titan would start as a fanatic believer, like the Black Moon Elves. Could it be that my divine power had something to do with this pregnancy, that whatever the reason, having another saint was a huge advantage? I name you, Hyparis. His majestic voice echoed in the giant's mind. Hyparis, thank you for my name, my lord. I will transform into thunder and destroy all enemies for my lord. Hyparis roared, his voice filled with thunderous power. Your duty is to guard the source pool. Liu commanded. I obey my lord's oracle. Hyparis replied respectfully. He then stood and sat down next to Thunder Mountain. Boom. The earth trembled, countless towering trees were crushed, thousands of beasts and monsters fled in terror. Hyparis closed his eyes, entering a state of cultivation. Thunder crackled around him, like a thunder god descended to earth. Even seated, he stood over 200 meters tall. Compared to the 700-meter-tall Thunder Mountain, the two were massive landmarks, divine realm. Liu's eyes glowed purple as he observed Hyparis. Name, Hyparis. Race, Titan. Level, 8th level. Legend. Status, Adult. Class Template, Thunder Titan. Talents, Thunder Control, Thunder Armor, Thunder Domain, Strength, Power, Magic Immunity, Physical Immunity, Skills, Thunder Spear, Purple Lightning Dragon, Flash Movie, Hell Thunder, 10,000 Thunders, Thunder Elemental Giant, Strength, 8.9. Physique, 9.0. Agility, 8.7. Spirit, 8.9. Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Legendary, top-tier stuff. Liu was blown away. The Thunder Titan definitely lived up to his name. His strength and spirit were legendary, through and through, and his build. It was on another level, almost demigod. He was something else, seriously terrifying. Even the Black Moon Elf leader, who was also a legend, couldn't measure up, and Faloo, the Black Dragon with his newfound priesthood, might not be stronger than Hyparis by much. Plus, the Thunder Titan is huge. Imagine him charging headfirst into the enemy. Just thinking about it was enough to get anyone hyped, not to mention, the Thunder Titan was a nightmare matchup for demon warriors. Controlling lightning made him incredibly lethal. Any enemy would be scared stiff. Liu calmed himself down a bit and raised his hand. A pale priesthood floated in front of him, the one left behind by the Bone God. The Bone Priesthood, one of the key components of the undead system. Bone Priesthood. Liu whispered. He didn't even have to try, he knew it wasn't his thing, the undead system. Worlds apart from what he was working with, he glanced at Theodore, the Bone Dragon, still spooking the skeletons in the skeletal village. Obvious, the Bone Priesthood, it belonged to a Bone Dragon, and Theodore was his first. But he's just a fanatic, not a saint. Liu paused to think, then, his voice boomed in Theodore's mind. Theodore, I'm really happy with what you've brought me. Become more devoted, and I will grant you power. Fear, awe, respect, gratitude, all those emotions. They could intensify belief. So, what about incentives? What about desire? Could those change someone's faith? Become more devout. Theodore was stunned, the fire in his eyes flickered with intense longing. He wasn't sure how the Black Dragon Faloo, the dark ancient tree column, and the others had become so powerful, but it had to be a gift from the big guy upstairs. He wanted in, and now, he had his shot. All he needed to do was worship the great god even harder. That desire surged, strengthening his will, almost like he was hypnotizing himself into believing harder. Could that actually work? Liu looked surprised. He checked out Theodore's faith channel. It was getting stronger, more stable. Moving away from fanatic and toward saint. Barely any time had passed, then, bam. Theodore's faith channel crossed the fanatic threshold, and shot up. The channel in front of Liu exploded with power, multiple times stronger than before. More than just quantity, was this quality improvement, too? So, emotions from the heart can boost faith. Liu thought it over, a smile crossed his face. Theodore was his 10th saint. He spoke slowly, his voice echoing. Good. I feel your devotion. I grant you power, that with a flick, he sent the bone priesthood, flowing along the faith channel, merging with Theodore. Wrath. Theodore threw back his head, the fire in his eyes blazed. Incredible power, it surged through his bones, strange lines appeared on each one, his dragon body expanded, more bones sprouted, another pair of bone wings grew alongside the first, both pairs were pale, etched with intricate patterns. Boom! Overwhelming dragon power rolled out, undead energy surged through him, he flapped his wings, the wind howled, the skeletons on the ground were even more terrified, kneeling. The bone priesthood. So that's what he gave Faloo and Kareem. Theodore, now over 500 feet long, was ecstatic, a priesthood. He had a priesthood. He felt nothing but gratitude, his faith intensified. Thank you, Lord, for this gift. He faced Grush City, his voice filled with zeal. Back in his realm, Liu looked away from Theodore. Theodore, now with the bone priesthood, he might not be as strong as Faloo, but he had his uses, like taking on physically powerful enemies. Theodore's bone dragon breath was way more effective than black dragon breath. Bone dragon breath didn't do much physical damage, but it wrecked souls. Even a physically strong higher level like Behemoth, after a few blasts of bone dragon breath, would lose a ton of soul power, weakening him, but the black dragon fighting Behemoth of the same level. High chance he was getting hunted. Behemoth was the jade dragon killer for a reason. I wonder, is Behemoth's body tougher than a titan's? Liu wondered. He looked towards the dark valley. The black moon elves were all back except for Aluni. For legendary bone dragons, 2 had fallen to Aluni. The black moon elf leader had really shown how deadly a spellcaster could be. Bone dragons are still on the weak side. I have 2 more dragon gates left. Gotta use them on strong dragons. Even if I can't find a high-level dragon in its growth stage, I'll settle for a red or black dragon from the mid-tiers. That's why Liu let Aluni kill the legendary bone dragons. Those 4 worshipped the spider goddess. Besides the dragon control gate, he couldn't change their minds. He had no choice but to kill them. It was a shame, but at least the 4 dragons left behind 4 soul fires, 8th level stuff, enough for Grush City's sacrifices for the next 4 years. What kind of treasure would an 8th level soul fire turn into after a 100-fold increase? Liu was looking forward to finding out. And 12 nightmare beasts. Liu smiled as he saw the nightmare beasts being herded into the dark valley. He looked away, closing his eyes. He went back to the priesthood. The thunder priesthood was 6% mastered. He'd digested it. He'd wait until the spider goddess fight was over to hit up the god-being tower, then, he'd boost his mastery again. Dark Elf City, all the dark elves cowered on the ground, staring at the street, at the raging knight riding a black scale dragon, towering over them. The violent knights were just too brutal, too scary, even for dark elves. Known for their cruelty, but compared to the violent knight, who looked like a little giant, they were probably softies. Missing, in the city center, the Hogue shaman, even taller than the knight, frowned at the empty space. This used to be the ancestral temple for the spider goddess, and her domain, but now, it was gone. Find the leaders of the dark elves, he ordered, his face grim, the sudden disappearance of the spider goddess. This was big. Soon 5 dark elves, still wearing their fancy clothes, but looking rough, were dragged over by human soldiers. Where's your temple? Hogg glared down at them. You don't want to know. We won't betray the great spider goddess. The 5 trembled but stood their ground. Suit yourselves. Hogg was furious, his eyes turned bloodshot, he looked terrifying. Let me take it from here, master. Aluni walked over, tall, wearing a dark magic robe, her face calm. She looked at the dark elves, and a wave of higher-level authority washed over them. Priest Hogg and the violent knight weren't affected, but the dark elves. It was like seeing royalty. You're a black moon elf, the 5 cried out in horror. They knelt, faces pale. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Black moon elves are the elite of the dark elves, a cut above the regular dark elves, who are just low level. It's like comparing a lizard to a dragon. The difference in status is so vast it triggers a primal fear, a shudder deep in their blood, a terror that resonates in their very souls. The only way to overcome it is to become more powerful, otherwise, you can only weaken it. Right now, Mtlnovel is a legendary level 8, the 5 Dark Elves are merely level 4 lords. There's no contest, every fiber of their being screams submission. Submission to the Black Moon Elf standing before them. What happened to your ancestral temple? Mtlnovel asked slowly. It vanished this morning. One of the Dark Elves stammered. Even though Priest Hog's appearance is terrifying, their faith helped them manage their fear, but, facing a Black Moon Elf, the awe and surrender in their hearts dwarf their faith. Vanished? Mtlnovel looked at Priest Hog. This needs to be reported to my lord, Hog said gravely. The disappearance of a temple is beyond their authority, or their capabilities. Agreed. Mtlnovel nodded, glancing over the city. Master Priest, would you mind if I took these Dark Elves under my wing? I'll make them followers of our Lord. Spreading the faith falls under the purview of the Thunder Order. It's their right. Mtlnovel wants to convert these Dark Elves, although they all worship the same god. Disputes might arise, so, she's checking with him first, out of respect. I would be delighted to have the Mtlnovel chief take over, Hog replied instantly. It's obvious to him that these Dark Elves are putty in Mtlnovel's hands. She could spread the faith more easily than the Thunder Order. Like, tenfold easier. Of course he'd agree. He watched Mtlnovel stroll away, then turn and headed for a hall. He knelt, praying devoutly, My great lord, the spider goddess's ancestral temple and domain have vanished. Show us what to do. Vanished? In his divine realm, Liu opened eyes that glowed with purple light. His expression was calm. The hidden god's ancestral temple had disappeared once before, but after the dark ancient tree, Kareem, merged with the hidden priesthood, its mastery reached 1%, unlocking the extremely strange divine skill, hidden divine realm. It can conceal the divine realm within a 20-kilometer radius. The breath vanishes entirely. Even believers next to the ancestral temple can't detect its aura. That's why, last time, Faloo and the Furious Knight searched for ages. They couldn't find the hidden god, but that requires the hidden priesthood, and obviously, the spider goddess doesn't have that, so, the divine realm's disappearance must be because of Divine Realm Teleportation Card. The spider goddess used a divine teleportation card. Liu murmured. He didn't know much about these things before, but since joining the God Hunter organization, he's been studying the chat logs in the group, the demigods in the group who hunt true gods that are strong people who have been targeted by true gods and survived. They are all smart, the topics they discuss are sophisticated. It greatly broadened his understanding. They sometimes talk about the realm of gods. A realm teleportation card is a treasure that only a true god of the space element can create. It costs 5 drops of divine power and can teleport a divine domain to a random location within a 3,000-kilometer radius. So ancestral temples, which contain a divine domain, can also be teleported. Most gold demigods will buy one of these if they can, and then combine it with another divine card, a hidden god card. This helps them escape their enemies. The hidden god card must be made by a true god of the dark element, one who has the hidden priesthood. It costs 3 drops of divine power. The spider goddess probably couldn't afford the teleportation card. It looks like the true god of the undead is involved again. Liu's lips curled into a cold smile. Since she used the divine teleportation card, it's likely she'll use the hidden god card too. In that case, she could be tens of thousands of kilometers away. Unless his followers search the land, they won't find the ancestral temple hidden with concealment magic. And a land-scraping search over a radius of 3,000 kilometers covers an area of 28 million square kilometers. How is that possible? His few followers wouldn't clean it up in 100 years. However, his gaze fell on Kareem, the dark ancient tree outside Grumsh City. The hidden god card might work, but not against the hidden priesthood. Kareem. His voice echoed in the mind of the dark ancient tree. The tree, which was more than 200 meters tall, stirred, its branches shook, bloody eyes opened. He looked toward the divine domain, full of respect. Great Lord, your humble servant is here. Go to this area. There's a false god hiding there. Find her. Liu commanded. My great lord, Karim obeys your oracle. Karim said reverently. Then, countless dark, terrifying tree roots rose from the ground, hundreds of them snaking through the air, like a legion of pythons with a 3-meter diameter. Boom! The ground trembled, Karim's massive body lifted into the sky, it cast dark shadows over the ground and vanished. Flying types can fly in the air, and at the legend level, Karim might not be known for his speed, but he's faster than flying creatures. In half a day, Karim was above the Dark Elf city. Karim. Hogg rose into the air and nodded. Master Priest, my lord asked me to find the false god. Tell me everything you know. Karim's voice was low, his eyes shone with bloodlust. Karim had no presence outside Grumsh city, it's just like an ordinary towering tree, but Hogg knew better, this was a dark ancient tree, a cruel, bloodthirsty war machine. Hogg told Karim everything. Understood. Karim nodded. He circled the Dark Elf city, each circle extending 5 kilometers, his maximum sensing range was 5 kilometers. It'll take about 20 days, he muttered. Damn that god of thunder. At the foot of a hill, an ancestral temple stood. The temple was shrouded in black mist, it was impossible to see it from the outside, nobody walking by could detect its presence. That's the power of hidden magic. In the divine realm, the spider goddess was a bundle of anger, hatred, and frustration. Her believers, the ones she'd painstakingly gathered for so many years, were all gone. She felt the channels of belief collapsing. Fear can deepen faith, but it can also destroy it. Most believers, and especially fanatics, will choose life over faith. Just wait. Jeremiah has the coordinates. He's coming. He's coming in person. God of thunder, your death is coming. I will watch you die. The spider goddess gritted her teeth, and then wondered if, after the god of thunder fell, she could take over his followers. The thought made her giddy. She had the hidden magic. It will take hundreds of years for the thunder god's followers to find her. By then, Jeremiah will have arrived. God of thunder, you may be powerful, but you're weak compared to a true god. I'll be just fine. And one day, I'll light the divine flame. A sneer spread across her face, and then she stopped, because a shadow fell over the ancestral temple where her divine domain was hidden. It was a massive dark ancient tree, feral, scarlet eyes. It was as if he saw her through the hidden magic. Her hair stood on end. P.S. The last chapter was overhauled for more than an hour, and a lot of words were changed. Some of them may not be very suitable, don't mind. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Found it. Karim gazed down at the ancient, dark tree, his scarlet eyes gleamed fiercely. He figured it had been about 20 days, but it was only the 13th, the divine teleport card was randomly programmed to transport him anywhere within 1,000 kilometers. Landing 3,000 kilometers away was incredibly rare. Without a second thought, hundreds of tree roots snaked toward the ancestral temple below, coiling around it like giant pythons. A strange power emanated from the tree. When that power touched the spider goddess's ancestral temple, the faint black mist concealing it vanished. The entire temple was exposed. How could he find me? She thought. How is this even possible? In her divine domain, the spider goddess's face twisted as she screamed in terror. She wasn't afraid of the ancient, dark tree itself, but she sensed the power of the god of thunder within it. It was a message from him. He was coming for her. She knew it wouldn't be long before the god of thunder appeared in her domain, to kill her. Even as a 5th-level demigod, she knew she couldn't stand against the god of thunder. His other followers were terrifying enough. How could she possibly be stronger than them? What do I do? Her face was etched with panic, the joy she'd imagined at Jeremiah's arrival and the god of thunder's death gone. Boom. The ancient, dark tree slowly descended, towering over the ancestral temple, its roots snaking around the structure. In the divine realm, the divine teleportation card couldn't have obstacles. If there was one, the transmission would fail. After all, space teleportation had to be extremely precise. Great Lord, Karim prayed, your humble servant Karim has located the spider goddess. Did you find her? Luckily, I encountered a hidden god and obtained the hidden priesthood. Otherwise, I don't know how long it would have taken to find the spider goddess. In his divine domain in Grush City, Liu watched as Karim secured the ancestral temple. His face was calm as he stepped forward. In his sixth-turn demigod realm, he wasn't invincible among demigods, but he was definitely among the strongest. He could even kill 9-turn demigods. Whoosh, the scene before him shifted, revealing a dark and oppressive divine realm. The spider goddess glared at him, her face full of resentment. You didn't just attack outright. Liu smiled, his hands behind his back. He looked at the spider goddess without hesitation, even though she was incredibly beautiful, not even weaker than Aluni, the leader of the Black Moon Elves. She didn't stir any emotion in him. There were plenty of beautiful gods in the city of gods. Gods are all beautiful, even if they weren't before. They became beautiful after ascending. You really are far stronger than me. The spider goddess spat, her teeth gritted. You're already a golden demigod. She could feel an overwhelming aura emanating from Liu, one that filled her with fear and the sense that she couldn't compete or be hostile. Golden demigod. Liu frowned, though he was still a silver demigod. His strength was immense. Even without deliberately releasing his aura, it made people mistake him for a golden demigod. This was a realm below him, though demigods of a higher realm could see his true level. What kind of treasure did Jeremiah give you to make you so strong? The spider goddess asked bitterly. This was the wilderness, full of new gods. She believed that she would become one of the strongest demigods there, but the power of the god of thunder was beyond her imagination. Jeremiah. Is that the name of the true god of the undead? Liu's face remained calm, though he couldn't help but laugh. Could his strength really be traced to that treasure? That treasure was just a night elf mother tree. He had no need to explain himself to a dying god. He looked at the spider goddess and said coolly, I'll send you on your way. Boom! Purple lightning surged forth, shattering the darkness in a cataclysmic explosion. The lightning formed a sea of destruction, engulfing everything. No! The spider goddess roared in despair. She channeled all 720 strands of her divine power into casting a Dark Guardian spell, summoning 18 dark shields adorned with dark divine patterns. Each shield radiated an ominous black light, but the power gap was too wide. The endless thunder hammered down. The Dark Guardian lasted only 15 seconds, then shattered. The spider goddess's divine body was submerged, her soul vanishing instantly in the face of the thunder's terrible power. With Liu's current strength, his thunder was devastating. Even the spider goddess's Dark Guardian, capable of withstanding a sixth-turn demigod for at least half an hour, couldn't last even half a minute against him. Jeremiah. Liu murmured, reaching out. Suddenly, 400 strands of divine power, a priesthood, and the origin of the divine domain flew towards him. He turned and left, the divine realm collapsing behind him. In a gloomy villa in the city of gods, Jeremiah crushed his wine glass, his face twisted in anger and murderous intent. God of thunder. He muttered to himself. He had felt Bao's fall. Soon, in 7 years, I'll complete the invasion of the divine formation and bring the kingdom of God here myself. That he waved his hand, the wine evaporating. Dark elf priesthood. In his divine domain, Liu looked at the priesthood in his hand, surprised. The spider goddess hadn't been a spider goddess at all, but a dark elf one. The dark elf priesthood was a racial one. The racial priesthoods were powerful, with their own promotion systems. The dark elf priesthood wasn't tied to any specific dark elf, but to the dark elf race. Dark night elves and black moon elves were all dark elves. At the first level of the priesthood, they can only affect the dark elves, but at the third level of priesthood, they can affect the night elves. What luck! Liu smiled, his eyes turning to the dark elf city. Aluni, the leader of the black moon elves, was spreading her faith. Her bloodline was far superior to theirs, and in just 10 days, the city had returned to its former state. The bloody arenas were gone, and many dark elves had begun to believe in Liu. The dark elf priesthood is perfect for Aluni. Liu said, pleased. There were over 20,000 dark elves in the city. He transferred the dark elf priesthood to Aluni through her faith channel. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The great god of thunder rules all, embodies the light, and exists eternally. Aluni stood on the high platform, magic wand raised, dark energy swirling around her. A thick black mist billowed beneath her feet, she looked like a demon rising from a dark abyss. Below, a massive crowd of dark elves gazed up at Aluni in awe. The power emanating from her blood and soul overwhelmed them. They couldn't resist. Like commoners to a king, they obeyed her every command. But even though many dark elves had converted to the god of thunder, their faith was shaky. Most were just dabblers. "The great god of thunder will protect you." Aluni stopped abruptly. She looked up sharply, her 3,000 blue hairs flew back. Surprise flickered across her pale face. Boom. An immense surge of dark energy gathered, 10 times stronger than before. In the sky, the dark energy formed a black cloud. The cloud descended, threatening to destroy the entire dark elf city. Aluni floated into the air, enveloped in the terrifying energy. A massive, shadowy figure appeared behind her. Everything about the figure was black, except for a pair of dark, gem-like eyes mirroring Aluni's. The aura around her shifted dramatically. It became far more terrifying, inspiring even greater awe among the dark elves. A sense of dominance radiated, as if she controlled them all. Every dark elf in the city felt a surge of awe and fear, and a new feeling, admiration. They perceived the powerful Black Moon Elf as their mother. It was similar to the feeling they had when facing the Spider Goddess, but the Spider Goddess was too cruel. That feeling had been repressed, leaving only fear. "Goddess! Our goddess!" Someone shouted, and a wave of dark elves knelt, kowtowing to Aluni. This. Aluni, transformed, stood stunned in the sky. Before she could grasp the power she now wielded, she realized channels of faith were connecting to her. Caught off guard, she was clueless. She prayed to the great gods in her heart. "Great Lord!" In the realm of gods, Liu stood up, a strange look on his face. He sensed that many dark elves had become his light followers, but the channel of belief had changed, connecting to Aluni. Yet, these channels still flowed from Aluni to him. And their number had increased significantly, with a level of faith and devotion far greater than before. It was as if Aluni had become a transit point. No trace of the power of faith remained with Aluni. This situation. Liu murmured. He had never heard of anything like it. The demigods in the Hunting the True God organization hadn't discussed anything similar. He had searched the divine library but found no such record. Is it because Aluni integrated into the priesthood? But that doesn't seem right. Most of my saints have been integrated into the priesthood, and nothing like this has ever happened. He pondered, what made Aluni different from the other saints? Ethnic priesthood. Aluni integrated racial clergy. But Hogg also integrated racial priesthood, so why didn't this happen? Perhaps. A light flashed in Liu's eyes. The half-orc tribe had been his first believers. His faith was deeply rooted in the orc clan. Hogg couldn't take faith from him, but the dark elves were different. His faith was newly established and fragile. Aluni's fusion with the dark elf priesthood naturally resonated with them. Plus, she was a Black Moon Elf, a high-ranking elf of the dark system, so it was easy to snatch faith from him. And Aluni is my saint. That's why this strange situation occurred. A smile formed on his lips. Seeing that Aluni looked a bit uneasy, his voice boomed. Aluni, since you have integrated the dark elf priesthood, let the dark elves be your religious race. You may keep 10% of the power of faith. He wanted to see if giving Aluni 10% of the power of faith would accelerate her promotion to the demigod stage. Promoting from legend to demigod was a major leap. Even with the Black Moon Elf clan's immense talent, it would take at least 200 or 300 years, and not every Black Moon Elf could make that leap. The power of faith, a simplified version of divine power, offered a shortcut. While weaker, its effects were similar and could speed up cultivation. Aluni thanks my lord for this gift. My lord's orders are the meaning of Aluni's existence. Over the dark elf city, Aluni's anxiety vanished. She spoke piously and happily. At that moment, Liu clearly sensed Aluni's channel of belief becoming much stronger. It almost reached the threshold of a saint. It was on par with the beliefs of Black Dragon Faloo, Dark Ancient Tree Kareem, and Priest Hogg. I wonder which of the four of them will be promoted to the Holy Spirit first. Liu mused, looking forward to it. Ordinary saints could provide 100 power of faith in one day, legendary saints could provide 600, and a legendary Holy Spirit could provide a staggering 16,000. Equivalent to more than 10,000 devout believers. If they reached the demigod level, that would be 32,000. Saints were the most precious assets of gods, and the Holy Spirit was an amazing wealth that even true gods craved. The god war is over, time to head to the God-being tower. He turned away. He wasn't in a rush to deal with the other 8 gods of the 9 shrines, they were too far away, and he still had too few followers. He needed to take things one step at a time. With a thought, he arrived at the city of gods. The Tower of God looked the same as always, the square was full of gods. The God-being tower held great allure for demigods. Every level cleared brought a reward, significantly improving control over the priesthood. Any demigod with epic followers would give it a try. As long as they were careful, believers rarely died in battle, mostly getting injured, but for gods, even serious injuries weren't a major problem. Li Yu's eyes narrowed. The top spot had changed, no longer the god of hope, but someone called God of Killing. Also cleared the 7th floor, in just 2 hours and 12 minutes, far faster than the God of Hope's 6 hours and 9 minutes. God of Killing. Just hearing the name makes you think of a fight. Li Yu murmured, but he wasn't overly concerned. Even if the opponent was strong, with stronger believers than his own, time would tell. He had developed to this level in 9 years, what could he accomplish in another 9? He stepped into the God-being tower. After consuming a reward, he entered the endless world of Thunder Priesthood. Talent, you have come to the world of Thunder Priest. Talent, your comprehension speed has been increased 100-fold. My understanding of the Thunder Priesthood is still so limited. Li Yu realized the power of thunder. Spiritual light burst forth in his mind. His understanding of the Thunder Priesthood grew exponentially, steadily increasing from 6%. At this speed, even true gods would be stunned, incredulous. An hour passed quickly. Li Yu woke up, an intense purple light emanated from his eyes, slowly fading. A smile appeared on his face. The control degree of Thunder Priest has reached 7%. Both priests were now at 7% control. And the Hail Priest was only a 2nd-level priest. The power of the Thunder Priest was even greater. A 6-turn demigod can also accelerate the radiation range of the divine domain by 10 years. After the acceleration is complete, he will immediately start promoting to rank 7. He turned and left. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He's dead. The boss is dead. What do we do now? In the God of Reproduction's domain, the other 8 gods of the 9 shrines huddled together, fear etched on every face. The spider goddess, Bausi, had been their powerhouse. For years, their 9 shrines had thrived, slaughtering countless other gods, largely thanks to the spider goddess's might. Wherever her legendary bone dragons flew, the believers of rival gods crumbled. With their followers decimated, their power diminished. Now, a swarm could easily wipe them out and seize their resources. The God of Thunder's followers are too damn strong. 4 legendary bone dragons alone, plus a legendary black dragon and a legendary black moon elf. Thousands of 6th-level knights and archers. 2. The God of Reproduction's face was a mask of gloom, his fist clenched tight. His Snake Man followers had been slaughtered in that battle, and many were captured. He knew what was coming. Once the God of Thunder was free, he'd be the next target, and when the God of Thunder came for him, it would be game over. 6 legendaries. Even though they'd heard the number before, it still sent shivers down their spines. Such power. Enough to kill a legendary black dragon in a heartbeat, clear the 3rd floor of the God-being tower, and rank among the top 10,000. Damn it! How could a demigod like that show up in our neck of the woods? The God of Assassins snarled. Their 9 shrines had been living the good life. They'd rampaged across a 20,000-mile radius, killing over 200 demigods. Sure, they had to split the loot 10 ways, with the spider goddess getting 2 shares. But it still fueled their power, pushing them all to 4th-level demigod status. Their followers were no slouches either, but now, they realized a monster was standing right next to them, ready to swallow them whole. They'd fallen from grace, and their hearts were freezing over. Maybe we could join forces with the Dark Alliance. The God of Plants and Trees was hesitant. West of their 9 shrines lay the Dark Alliance's territory. Their gods were all dark-aligned, crazy and bloodthirsty. The 9 shrines had dealt with them before, but not much. The Dark Alliance. If they find out Bausi is dead, they might not wait for the god of thunder to attack. Those lunatics would come for us first. That the god of reproduction scoffed. He took a deep breath, he looked at the god of assassins, the god of plants and trees, and the others, his face grim. I'm planning to lure gods from across the Dragon Demon Mountain range here. That the other 7 gods stared at the god of reproduction in shock. You're out of your mind. Do you know what's over there? That's demon country. Demons, pure, chaotic evil. If the dark gods were rational madmen, with twisted logic, then demons were just chaotic creatures, complete psychopaths. What, you want to reason with me? I'll just eat you. I met a demonic demigod in the city of gods. He lives right across the Dragon Demon Mountain range. He's a descendant of a true demon god, too. Half demon blood, half vampire. He's not as chaotic and insane as the usual demonic demigods. The god of reproduction said gravely, he didn't want to die. If there was a glimmer of hope, he'd fight for it. As for surrendering to the god of thunder and becoming a minion, that was handing over his life. The god of thunder could crush him without a second thought. The other 7 gods exchanged uneasy glances. Back in his domain, Liu wasn't rushing, the year was almost over. This time, I'm using a legendary bone dragon's soul fire as a sacrifice. His face was calm, but he was excited. Legendary soul fire, amplified 100 times, what kind of treasure would it become? Based on past sacrifices. A 6th level item becomes an 8th level item. A 7th level item becomes a 9th level item. And 8th level legendary items. Liu's eyes gleamed. A 9th level, demigod level item. Demigod power varied widely, so items at that level were also all over the map. The 9th level recognized by the gods was just a bronze demigod item, a silver demigod item was 10th level, and golden demigod items that were level 11. Just like the demigod rankings, these items worked for any level of demigod, so, which level would it be? It should amplify into a 10th level item. He murmured, a 10th level item could actually help him. Of course, it depended on the item's properties, but even if it didn't help him much, a 10th level item would be a huge boost to his followers. But no demigod would usually do that. A 10th level item was worth 1 to 2 drops of divine power, which silver demigod would be that generous. Outside Grush City, tens of thousands of violent knights charged. Liu had used divine cards to multiply his forces one last time, creating tens of thousands of raptors and tens of thousands of 3rd level orcs who had become knights, 10,000 violent knights, all 4th order lord level. Dust filled the air, the unicorn's thick hooves pounded the ground shook, gravel flew everywhere. The 15,600-ton violent knights charged together. It was terrifying. Boom. But then, an even more terrifying tremor came from the distance. It's the chieftain and the others. They're back. Someone cheered among the violent knights. Soon, a huge number of violent knights, over 30 feet tall, thundered toward them. Their violent aura dwarfed the training knights. They were taller and bigger, like adults compared to children. They were 10 to 15 feet taller. Not bad. 10 years of training. And they've all hit level 6. Ayman said, satisfied. Beside him, Kingsley and Pope exchanged envious glances. Great Lord, why not add more people to their Silver Centaur clan? But the great god of thunder had his reasons. As fanatics, they wouldn't complain. Instead, they wondered, was their Silver Centaur's faith not as strong as the orcs? The wind howled in the sky. The black dragon Faloo, the bone dragon Theodore, and the other 3 bone dragons circled Grush City, then returned to Black Dragon Mountain and the bone dragon nest. Time passed. Half a month later, a large group of dark elves, led by Aluni, completed their long journey, thousands of miles, without the legendary Aluni, they would never have made it, falling prey to ferocious beasts and monsters along the way, the bone dragon, the soul-slaying death scythe, and the shock knight had protected the last dark elf expedition. You will rebuild the dark elf city here. About 6 miles from Dark Canyon, Aluni ordered. It was a lush grassland, close to the mountains, a perfect location. We obey the oracle of the goddess's crown. Several ancient female elves said respectfully. They were devoted followers of Aluni. She had not only claimed the dark elf priesthood, but protected them during their travels, so much better than the spider goddess. The dark elves were filled with gratitude, awe, and respect. Their faith grew stronger. Good. Eluni nodded. She wasn't used to being called a goddess. She stepped lightly, dark energy surged, her body vanished into dark canyon. Ha! A demon hunter has been born, in his domain. Liu had been watching Eluni, pleased by how quickly she'd gained the dark elf's faith. Suddenly, he was surprised. He looked at the black moon elf mother tree. It was shrouded in light black mist. A ripe fruit fell. This fruit was much larger than the one that had birthed Eluni. Roar! A black moon elf riding a nightmare beast and wielding 2 green blades charged out. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This black moon elf was decked out in leather armor. It showed off a lot of pale skin. The 2 green war blades in his hands glinted coldly. His eyes blazed with green light. His black hair flew around him, making him look heroic. The nightmare beast he rode wasn't your average mount either. Hellfire blazed from its 4 hooves, terrifying dark energy poured off it, its eyes were bloodthirsty and scarlet. The black moon elf and nightmare beast were in sync, they shared a single breath. A powerful demonic aura radiated from them, just looking at them sent chills down your spine. Now that's a strong stink. Liu was impressed. The demon hunter didn't disappoint, even though he was just a 7th level epic, his aura was top tier. They say demon hunters are born to be the bane of demons. They can really suppress a demon's power. I wonder. Can he take on a legendary demon at the top of the 7th level? He was eager to see. Plus, he'd heard that demon hunters could control the power of demons they killed. They could use that power to get stronger, way faster than other black moon elves. Of course. That meant they needed demons to kill. A purple light flashed in his eyes. He used his eye of insight. Name, none. Category, elf. Level, 7th level epic. Status, adult. Class template, demon hunter. Talents, night enhancement, black moon essence, dark beloved, demonic bane, demonic sucking, ghost vision. Skills, demonic transformation, blink, demonic bite, chaotic strike, death sweep, blade dance, nightmare dash, quick shadow, shattered soul, strength, 7.8, constitution, 7.9. Agility, 7.9, spirit, 7.1. Demonic transformation. Liu zeroed in on that skill. Demonic transformation. Turn into a demon you've killed for 5 minutes, gaining all its abilities. Can jump up a level. He can jump up a level. That's a crazy skill. He exclaimed. Basically, if a 7th level epic demon hunter took down an 8th level legendary demon, he could use demonic transformation and become an 8th level legendary demon for 5 minutes. And he'd get all the demon's abilities too. Combined with the demon hunter's own skills, that'd make him way stronger than the original demon. Plus. Liu glanced at the talents section. Demonic bane. Demon hunters are born to hunt demons. Their aura scares demons, even high-ranking ones, weakening them by 10%-30%. Demonic sucking. Demon hunters really understand demons. They have some demonic traits themselves and can use the power of demons they've killed to get stronger. Definitely the most terrifying class in the Black Moon Elf family. Liu grinned. Those 2 talents and that 1 skill were insane. They were born to hunt demons. Too bad. Not a demon in sight. Or else, we could be raising a legendary demon hunter in no time. He was a little bummed. He looked at all his followers, including the silver centaurs, grey dwarves, and ratmen back in Mithril Mine, who were now back in Grumsh City. He didn't hesitate. He made a move, spending 31,250 strands of divine power. A faint purple divine light blasted out of the divine realm. It covered his realm's radius of 85 kilometers. The light filled the air. Time started to speed up in that area. Instantly, the priesthood came together. The legendary saints all looked up. Even though they couldn't see the purple light, they felt it. The great god was using some kind of amazing power to speed up time. The divine power of my lord is endless. Eluni said in awe. She'd recently gotten the power of faith herself, and she knew how much divine power it took to change time in such a big area. It was unbelievable to her. 10 years, a lifetime for ordinary mortals. kids grow up, teenagers start families, young people become parents, some old people close their eyes and return to the gods. Grumsh City had changed a lot, people from all races were everywhere, the sounds of hawking, yelling, shouting, and carriages filled the air, the streets bustled with people, the city had clearly become a boomtown. South of the city was a building made entirely of obsidian. A big, rough-looking hall, outside were statues of two brutal knights, their faces were fierce and evil, they looked real. Let me tell you. Master Yaman carved these statues himself. At the hall's entrance, a weathered man in blue leather armor with a big sword explained, behind him were a dozen human teenagers, each wore leather armor and carried a new sword, they were excited. Wow, Master Yaman carved them. A shy human kid exclaimed. Master Yaman wasn't a big name in the human race, but as an epic figure, he was someone they'd looked up to since they were kids. Next to him, some half-orc mercenaries with battle axes grinned at the kid, then they strode into the mercenary hall. Alright. Next is your mercenary test. Good luck, little guys. I hope you all become black iron mercenaries. The weathered man smiled. We will. I'm gonna be the mercenary king, the shy kid shouted. Out of nowhere, everyone coming in and out turned to look. When they saw it was a human kid, most of them smiled in a weird but friendly way. Okay. Go on in. Future mercenary kings, don't get knocked out at the first step. The weathered man said, not sure whether to laugh or cry. Interesting. This human kid's soul. There's something weird about it. In the divine realm. Liu, who'd watched Grumsh City and the surrounding area change for 10 years, muttered to himself. He looked a little surprised, but the soul was the core of a living being. It involved major soul rules. Even though he was a god, he could destroy souls, extract souls, and search soul memories, but he couldn't do it without damaging the soul. He couldn't carefully explore a soul. Maybe it'll lead to something unexpected. He ignored the devout human kid. His eyes fell on the dark canyon. He had 3 high-level creatures under his command. But neither the Thunder Titan nor the Two-Winged Angel could be born in just 10 years. Only the Black Moon Elves could be born multiple times in 10 years. Those 1,000 kilograms of dark energy crystals are all used up. I need to buy more. Liu looked at the Black Moon Elf Mother Tree. It was pale, with no dark energy crystals left, but it wasn't a big deal for him anymore. Including Aluni, we've got 22 Black Moon Elves total. 8 Black Moon Magisters. 5 Black Moon Priestesses. 4 Wardens. 5 Demon Hunters. A demon hunter had been born every other year. Maybe that had to do with the nightmare beast. He figured as long as he kept providing nightmare beasts, the Black Moon Elf Mother Tree would keep popping out demon hunters. Too bad. Nobody's reached legend in 10 years. Liu shook his head. He was a little bummed, but 10 more epic Black Moon Elves would still boost his power a lot, especially the Black Moon Magisters and Demon Hunters. In some cases, they could almost match legendaries. He looked away. He was about to check on the Thunder Legion camp, then he got an interview request from the second god, Pierce, the god of refining. Did he find something? He perked up. Pierce was a god, his specialty was refining. He had a knack for finding metal mines. Liu had told him to check out the 3,000-kilometer area for mithril and other precious minerals. A thought popped into his head. A figure slowly appeared in the divine realm. It was Pierce, the bearded dwarf god of refining. Pierce looked happy and bowed to Liu. Dear God, I found a bunch of mermaids in a big lake to the west. Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mermaid. Liu looked up, surprised. Mermaids? They're usually out at sea. This wilderness is miles from any ocean. How could there be mermaids here? Even though they're considered lower-tier creatures, adult mermaids are pretty strong, like silver centaurs. They hit level 3. And there's a rumor they're descended from a sea god. How many are there? Liu asked. Mid-level creatures are a lucky find, but the top-tier ones? Most are loners. A whole group is almost impossible. Sure, He had black moon elves and could eventually create large numbers of thunder titans and two-winged angels, but he still valued divine creatures. They're just way more powerful than regular creatures. Not too many, maybe 500 to 1,000. My priest couldn't get an exact count, Pierce said, sheepishly scratching his head. His priests did most of the scouting within that 3,000-kilometer range. Liu nodded. 500 to 1,000. He gave Pierce an approving look. You did a good job. He hadn't found any rich mineral deposits, but a mermaid tribe? That was a major win. It's an honor to receive your praise, Lord, Pierce said quickly. You've been a level 3 demigod for a while now, right? Here's your reward, 700 strands of divine power. Liu waved his hand, and the power flew out. Thank you, Lord God. Pierce's face turned red with excitement. 700 strands. He could finally advance to level 4, becoming a silver demigod instead of bronze. That was a huge leap. Carry on. Liu didn't mind parting with that much power. If it motivated Pierce to find another mithril mine, the return would be massive. Mermaids. Liu thought after Pierce left, mermaids are water creatures, so black dragons, bone dragons, and black moon elves were out. They're either undead or dark-aligned. There's probably someone epic in that tribe. He glanced toward Thunder Mountain. For 10 years, Hyparis hadn't moved an inch, just absorbing thunder energy. Hyparis. Liu's voice boomed. Great Lord. Hyparis opened his eyes, his voice a low rumble. 10 years meant nothing to a legendary creature like him. The endless thunder had dulled his sense of time. That's why you hear stories of rock giants and lava trolls sleeping for centuries. High-level creatures lived for thousands of years, unless someone killed them. Go to this location. There's a mermaid tribe. I want you to conquer them. Thunder would easily overwhelm water, and Hyparis was so huge, he could probably wade into the lake without drowning. The mermaids didn't stand a chance. With a legendary powerhouse like Hyparis, they'd be begging for mercy in no time. Hyparis obeys. Hyparis rose slowly, crackling with lightning. Decades of practice unleashed a wave of thunder, instantly vaporizing the surrounding soil and plants. Boom, he marched west, each step shaking the ground. Trees, boulders, animals, all crumbled beneath his feet. King, we've been spotted by a priest. What should we do? A group of anxious mermaids gathered in Portus Lake. Their upper bodies were beautiful, human-like forms, and their lower halves were shimmering fish tails. The hall they were in was made of seashells. Mermaid warriors with harpoons stood guard. That priest is only level 5. He's not that strong, said a stunning mermaid who looked about 20. She wore a white dress, held a staff, and wore a crown, radiating both majesty and tranquility. Even a weak priest represents a god. An older mermaid frowned. This is the immortal continent. Gods can't come here in person. The mermaid queen spoke, her voice magnetic and unforgettable. Every mermaid in the hall had a beautiful voice. Let's hope you're right, the other said, still worried. I am, Selena said firmly, but the lake suddenly shook. The entire lake trembled, sending mermaids outside the palace into disarray. What's happening? Selena stepped outside, looking up at the water's surface. The other mermaids followed, surprised. Their power kept them steady, but something big was up. Mermaid family of the lake. I am Hyparis, the Thunder Titan. By order of my lord, I come to conquer you. A massive shadow loomed from the shore, and a thunderous voice blasted through the water, reaching the bottom of the lake. Thunder Titan. A legendary titan. A titan who can kill gods. Selena paled, her body trembling. Titan. The legendary Thunder Titan who controlled lightning. Her fellow mermaids were horrified, blood draining from their faces. They knew the legends, terrifying giants who could fight gods. Go see what's happening, Selena said, trying to stay calm, but her trembling hands betrayed her fear. Any other titan wouldn't have scared her so much. They had the lake, their greatest defense. But this was the Thunder Titan. Lightning in the water would be devastating. Even a fraction of a Thunder Titan's power could wipe out her level 3 tribesmen. Yes. A dozen mermaids rushed out of the lake and stared at the purple giant towering over them, the crackling thunder making their hair stand on end. Dear Thunder Titan, I am Mermaid Queen Selena. My lord, the god of thunder, has immeasurable power and eternal glory. Will you pledge your allegiance to my lord? Hyparis boomed. He held 2 massive thunderbolts, his purple armor making him even more imposing. Are you the god of the priest who came before? Selena asked. No. That was only a fraction of our lord's power. Hyparis's eyes glowed with thunder. I ask again, will you pledge your allegiance to our lord? Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. God. Selena and the other mermaid leaders were stunned. This guy actually had a god. From what they knew, gods who possessed other gods were incredibly powerful. Your Excellency, the mermaid clan wishes to believe in the god of thunder. Refusal wasn't an option. Selena and the other leaders exchanged knowing glances, then bowed respectfully. After all, they weren't exactly loyal to Poseidon anymore, and besides, they were on the legendary immortal continent, where danger lurked around every corner and gods were everywhere. Having the protection of a powerful god wasn't a bad thing at all, of course. The main reason was that the Thunder Titan scared them half to death. Total annihilation wasn't on their wish list. Choosing to believe in a powerful god was a no-brainer. Excellent. You've made the right choice. Hyparis grinned. His first time carrying out a divine decree was going swimmingly. Pleased, he opened his massive mouth and boomed, come with me to Grush City to worship our great lord. Well. Selena hesitated. Sir, could you give us a moment to get things in order? No problem. Hyparis agreed generously. Time was the least of his concerns. These mermaids were cooperating nicely. A little leeway wouldn't hurt. Thank you, Your Excellency. Selena sighed in relief, grateful for the reprieve. Then, they returned to their palace at the bottom of the lake, inside the Shell Palace. Your Majesty, do we really want to put our faith in that being? A middle-aged mermaid asked with a worried tone. She didn't dare speak the words, God of Thunder, aloud. She knew that some powerful gods could sense when their names were spoken. Poseidon abandoned us. Our clan is without faith. Believing in this powerful being isn't so bad, Selena replied slowly. After a pause, she looked around at everyone. Besides, do we really have a choice? The others looked at each other in silence. That place. Another mermaid leader said hesitantly. Of course, we'll tell the great god about it. Selena said without hesitation. Although that place was their home, it no longer belonged to them. Maybe they could use it to win the god's favor. That would be the greatest advantage for their clan. The other mermaid leaders nodded in agreement. Sure enough. The Thunder Titan is extremely intimidating to water creatures like mermaids. Up in the divine realm, Liu smiled. He'd been using Hyparis's vision to observe the mermaid leaders. He noticed that only the queen was at the epic level, the rest were only around level 6. He also noticed that several of the top mermaids had old wounds. These wounds were clearly from battles with enemies, and they all carried strong water magic, so, these mermaids' enemies were other water creatures. But that was strange. According to the map Pierce, the god of refining, gave him. There were no large lakes within a 300-mile radius of the mermaid's lake, so where were these water enemies coming from? Could it be that, long ago, 2 groups of water creatures lived in this lake? Looks like these mermaids are hiding some secrets. I wonder if they'll tell me about them. A faint smile touched his lips. Then, his attention shifted to Grush City. In the Thunder Order's headquarters, Priest Hogg, seemingly more powerful than ever, was preparing for the annual sacrifice. Because of the time acceleration, previous sacrifices had only been regular 4th and 5th level items, but now that the time acceleration was over, this sacrifice would include an 8th level soul fire. Everything's ready. 3 days from now is the annual sacrifice ceremony. My lord always watches the sacrifices closely. We cannot afford a single mistake. Priest Hog, staff in hand, commanded the busy priests. Dressed in a loose black magic robe, his tall, strong body overlooked the scene. In the last 10 years, the young spellcasters trained by the Black Moon Elves had become the backbone of the Thunder Order. Most of them had started out with average talent. They'd been on track to becoming third-level spellcasters, at best, but after living in the quiet village for a while, and benefiting from the Black Moon Elf Mother Tree and various potions, their potential had increased. They could now reach the 4th or even 5th level, and 3 of them had a shot at reaching the 6th level. Whether they could become 7th level epics depended on luck. Hog had made an agreement with Aluni. 30 young spellcasters would be sent to the quiet village every 3 years. Hundreds of spellcasters. Too bad most of them aren't higher level. Li Yu said softly. The Thunder religion hadn't been around for very long. Even with time acceleration, it had only been a little over 20 years, and the progress of spellcasters was slow. Aside from the 7 epic level figures, the Order's other priests were, at most, only 5th level. His eyes shifted. He looked toward the military camp outside the city. It was shrouded in a terrifying aura. A layer of blood-red evil energy that kept everyone in Grush City at a distance. Roar. Inside the camp, over 10,000 violent knights, each over 30 feet tall, were divided into 10 teams and fighting like madmen. The huge, black-scaled warriors breathed heavily, eyes red, the ground shook violently, training equipment was scattered about, and massive boulders were tossed around like toys. Yaman watched from above. His sloping forehead, jutting jaw, exposed teeth, and rough green skin gave him a terrifying appearance. His giant size inspired fear. Behind him stood 26 violent knights only slightly smaller than him. Each was wreathed in evil energy. With a cold look on their face, they held huge axes with gleaming silver edges. Level 11-16 violent knight. And 26 of them have been promoted to the 7th level epic. Li Yu was pleased. The violent knight was a worthwhile profession. So many had broken through to the epic level in just 10 years. The epic level might not be as good as the legendary level, but it was still a force to be reckoned with. Some lower-level dragons only reached that level when they came of age. On the other side of the camp, 2,000 silver archers were training. Silver light flashed as arrows hit their marks without fail. Kingsley and Pope watched from the sidelines. Behind them were 8 more epic silver centaurs. 10 years. The number of legendary believers hasn't changed. But the number of epic believers has increased by 49. Li Yu smiled softly. 10 Black Moon Elves, 26 Violent Knights, 8 Silver Centaurs, 5 from the Thunder Order. One of those from the Thunder Order was Priest Okali. Because of his devout faith, he had become a saint in the 5th year of time acceleration. This was Li Yu's 14th saint. For this, Li Yu had given Okali the priesthood he had gained by merging the Rainwater priesthood. The Grey Dwarves were now the 4th strongest race in Grumsh City. As a wise Grey Dwarf, Okali deserved a high position in the Order of Thunder. Priesthoods given by the gods weren't restricted by qualifications. If the gods were willing to spend their divine power and treasure, they could even raise someone to a demigod, but the amount of divine power required was terrifying, and almost no demigod could afford it. Li Yu focused, and a panel appeared before him. It was the immortal continent. Transformed into data. Believer interface. Holy Spirit, 0. Saints, 15. Fanatic. Believer, 3522. Devotees, 25630. True Believers, 42590. Light Believer, 25842. Total Believers, 38,545, Orcs, plus 19,220, Humans, plus 4,067, Grey Dwarves, plus 22,505, Rats, plus 3,970, Silver Centaurs, plus 5,578, Dragons, plus 3,690, Goblins, plus 22, Black Moon Elves, plus 1 equals 97599. Shaman, Hog, Mtlnovel, Greer, Okale. Divine Skills, Palm Thunder, Level 6, Thunder Vitality, Level 6, Bloodthirst, Level 6, Thunder and Lightning, Level 6, Thunder Roar, Level 6, Group Violence, Level 6, Thousands of Thunder from Heaven, Level 6, Madness Hail Ice Spear, Level 6, Hail Ice Shield, Level 6, Hail Shackles, Level 6, Hail Giant, Level 6, Hail Tornado, Level 6, Mass Ice Shield, Level 6.